Well, YouTube, it's happened again. We have another brave martyr for free speech who is under fire from those wonderful Islamofascists that we all have grown to love and cherish. Today, we are going to examine the work of this man, Lars Vilks, this hero. Lars Vilks, for those of you who do not know, is another Swede who has drawn up derogatory depictions of Muhammad the Prophet as a dog, which is obviously highly heretical to all of the Islamic faith. And what I'm about to say is going to spark a shitload of controversy, so that's okay. I encourage debate on this topic. My position is that I say good for him. I mean, he takes a jab at a violent religion by insulting it. I mean, half of me cheers him on, but on the other hand, half of me is kind of reviled by how he jabs. I mean, I personally think that overtly insulting religion, any religion, is bad because it's not productive. Not because it's inherently bad, because I don't think those religions are legitimate, but because it's really not productive, and overall it's not really good to offend people, because it just kind of pushes them away. A far more productive method is some kind of political satire, some other kind of cartoons depicting violent acts by, Islamofascists, or some of the, just inherent contradictions in the Quran. Those would be great examples to point out. Or also the denigration of women, let's not forget that. But those tools would be a little bit more productive. Just straight trying to offend every Islamic person on the planet, probably not the best idea. However, despite the fact that his methods are out of line, his freedom to draw such depictions as the Prophet as a dog should never come into question, honestly. I mean, and if anything, at least he shouldn't be threatened with his life for it. I mean, his methods are universally controversial. I mean, this is a guy who drew up the image of Jesus, as a pedophilia, or engaged in the act of pedophilia. So, I mean, he's a universal anti-religious guy. Yet you don't hear, and this is the main point of this video, you don't hear any Jews or Christians threatening to kill him, do you? You don't hear any Christian organizations that are offering over $100,000 for his head, or $50,000 more to slit his throat and quote-unquote butcher him like a lamb. I mean, I can't remember all the specifics of the situation, so, I mean, if you want to find out more about this guy, the link is on the right side of the screen. It's the CNN report. But from what I've said, and from what I've seen, it is obvious that this guy has balls, even though he's offensive. Yet, in essence, he is really and truly the poster child of how far freedom is supposed to go. Freedom of speech directly. And even if we don't agree with the guy, we are under the obligation as a free society to protect him and his rights, even if he lives in Sweden. I mean, to illustrate my point a little bit, I'm going to quote Voltaire, the brilliant man who ultimately criticized democracy, but brilliant nonetheless. He says, ultimately, I don't agree with a word you say, but I'll defend to my death your right to say it. That's exactly what should happen here, not threatening his life. Yet these Islamofascists don't understand anything about the simple right of freedom of speech. To them, any criticism is heresy and is punishable by death. And to elaborate, I would like to extend your attention to more links on the right side of the screen. In these videos you can see the demonstrations and tactics that Islamofascists use to propagate their message of hate and violence. I mean, these people really and truly have no clue at all what freedom of speech means. And no recollection or understanding of the value of open and honest criticism. And again, most Christians don't take criticism of their equally pointless faith very well either, but once again, they aren't going to car bomb me for saying that, are they? Now, maybe I'm being unfair. I kind of recognize that I'm unfair and I'm slanted to some degree feel like what I say has validity, but to some degree I can understand I'm being unfair. And certainly Muslims have the right to defend their prophet. Yeah, sure. I mean, everyone has the ability to defend their religion or their lack of one. I mean, whichever. But people do not have the right to threaten the lives of other people, the lives of other people. And people do not have the right to censor others. Freedom of speech is what makes Western society so great, as is freedom of religion. And this is why, ultimately, we are in a cultural war with these Islamist nations and these fundamentalist Muslims and Islamofascism. We are in a war with it, straight out. And that's how deep the conflict runs. I mean, this conflict with fundamental Islam is not just a war against deranged and deluded minority. It is a war against a growing culture. It is a culture of terrorism, of fascism, of violence, not known since Hitler, but equally as dangerous. So, I mean, even though I really disagree with this guy's methods, and I'm sure 90% of the viewers who see this are going to disagree with his methods too, you know. But ultimately I say good for you, Lars Vilks. Fucking hats off. I'm happy that some Europeans actually have the balls to stand up and say fuck you to Islam. Good for them. And put their life on the line to protest that kind of violent behavior and that violent fascism that you're going to see hopefully in the videos to the right of the screen. Go see those. So even though, you know, I disagree with him, good for you, Lars Vilks. You're a hero. And while we're on the topic of heroes, another hero is a Czech student, Stanislav Slulovic, say that 5 times fast, who was recently a student at Pace University. He isn't anymore because his attempt at freedom of speech is being censored and depicted as a hate crime. I'll post a link to that as well. So, fucking Flying Spaghetti Monster, help us. Another situation of censorship of freedom of speech. So, anyway, I know I was kind of rambling through this video, but I really hope that this video got you thinking a little bit about the other side of the story. I appreciate any comments that you guys have in response to this video, but please keep it pithy and topic related. Any attempts to convert me or proclaim to the world that Jesus or Allah is the only way to heaven, and you are praying for my soul, yeah, you're going to be deleted. I don't fucking care anymore. Stop trying to convert me. So, anyway, peace. Have a good day. I hope I was enlightening to a certain extent. I'm sure I'll post more videos on this topic later. So, let's start the discussion.